US President Donald Trump are set to hold their first summit meeting on August the 25th in Washington to discuss strengthening bilateral security alliances and economic partnership between the two countries. Lee's office says the three-day US visit will run from August the 24th to August the 26th, while his planned visit to Japan has not yet been confirmed. According to the South Korean presidential office, the two leaders will discuss ways to develop the alliance into a comprehensive strategic partnership in response to the changing international security and economic environment. We'll now hear what the South Korean presidential office spokesperson Jae Myung has had to say.
이재명 대통령은 트럼프 대통령의 초청으로 8월 25일 한미 정상회담 개최를 위해 8월 24일부터 26일까지 미국을 방문할 예정입니다. 이번 회담은 한미 정상 간 첫 대면으로 두 정상은 변화하는 국제 안보 및 경제 환경에 대응하여 한미 동맹을 미래형 포괄적 전략 동맹으로 발전시켜 나가기 위한 방안을 논의할 예정입니다. 두 정상은 이번에 타결된 관세 협상을 바탕으로 반도체, 배터리, 조선업 등 제조업 분야를 포함한 경제 협력과 첨단 기술, 핵심 광물 등 경제 안보 파트너십을 양국 간에 더욱 강화하기 위한 방안에 대해서도 협의할 것으로
Well, Trump announced on July the 30th that the countries had reached a trade deal that would subject South Korean goods to 15% import duties, lowering the tariff he had initially set. In return, Trump has said that South Korea will announce investment plans at the upcoming summit and that Seoul had committed to making $350 billion worth of investments to be selected by him. While joining us to discuss this meeting that is upcoming and the wider ramifications of the meeting, Peter Cardillo, a chief markets economist at Spartan Capital Securities, who's joining us live from New York. Peter, as always, thank you for joining us. I want to start with the end of that short read section that I had there. Of course, a 15% tariff rate agreed between South Korea and the United States, but that investment of potentially $350 billion and of Trump's choosing. Can you detail that for us and explain exactly what that will mean?
Well, I mean, I think it's basically a start. I would suspect that if that $350 billion of investments comes to fruition, that level of tariff will probably be lessened down to maybe about 10-11%. So that would be good news for South Korea, and obviously also for the United States. The situation is that of trying to make deals that are satisfactory to everyone. Now, tariffs, as you all know, are inflationary, even if they're at 10 or 11%. So in that respect, it's a challenge for the central banks around the world. But obviously, the lower the tariffs, the less threat of higher inflation, or shall we say, lingering inflation that could be more damaging than just have a spike up in inflation and then come back down.
Yes, and Peter, let's go back to this meeting. Of course, the first meeting between these two leaders, Lee Jae Myung, recently elected, and of course Donald Trump in his second term since the start of the year. How significant is the alliance between the US and South Korea, given risks surrounding North Korea and, of course, other issues in that region where they're both aligned on?
Well, it's very significant. I mean, South Korea has been, as an ally, has been protected by the United States. And of course, in the previous Trump's administration, he seemed to calm down the North Korean president, and I think he'll accomplish that in his second term. Of course, it's a very delicate situation. I doubt very much that the United States would ever abandon South Korea. I don't see that. But again, it's a sort of like a bargaining tool, in the sense that South Korea needs to be protected by the United States. It needs to be protected by the communist North, and so if democracy is to prevail and South Korea freedom continues, it depends a lot on the United States, and therefore it goes back to what I said. It's a bargaining tool, and Trump knows this. So, to a certain degree, South Korea needs to play ball, so to speak, with the Trump administration and come to an agreement that would be beneficial. And $350 billion is a lot of money, and so an investment of that nature would be quite positive for the United States.
Peter, thank you ever so much for joining us.